Thomas Edison. From a newspaper seller to one of the greatest inventors the world has ever known. He saved a child's life, a moment that changed his own life forever. This is the story of his life. Thomas Alva Edison was born in 1847 in Milan, Ohio, and grew up in Port Huron, Michigan. He was the seventh and youngest child of Samuel Ogden Edison and Nancy Matthews Elliott. Edison attended school for only a few months, and he was taught reading, writing, and arithmetic by his mother, a former school teacher. Edison developed serious hearing problems from an early age, problems likely caused by a childhood fever and middle ear infections. At the age of 12, he became completely deaf in one ear and had only limited hearing in the other. In 1860, young Thomas Edison began selling newspapers, candy, and vegetables on trains running from Port Huron to Detroit. When he was just 15, Edison bravely saved a 3-year-old boy named Jimmy Mackenzie from a runaway train. Grateful for Edison's bravery, Jimmy's father taught him how to operate the telegraph. This new skill led Edison to a job as a telegraph operator with the Grand Trunk Railway in Ontario. Edison also studied chemistry and ran experiments, but after being blamed for a near train crash, he left his job before he could be fired. Later, Edison gained the exclusive right to sell newspapers on the train. With the help of 4 assistants, he even started publishing and selling his own newspaper, the Grand Trunk Herald. In 1866, at the age of 19, Edison moved to Louisville, Kentucky. As an employee of Western Union, he requested the night shift, giving him plenty of time to read and experiment. But one night in 1867, while working on an experiment, he accidentally spilled sulfuric acid onto the floor, damaging his boss's desk. The incident cost him his job. In 1869, Edison patented his first invention, the electric vote recorder, though it saw little demand. He later moved into the basement of Franklin Leonard Pope, a fellow telegrapher and inventor. That same year, Edison and Pope founded their own company. In 1871, Edison married 16-year-old Mary Stilwell, who worked as an employee at one of his shops. Thomas and Mary had 3 children together. Edison's major innovation came in 1876 with the establishment of his industrial research lab in Menlo Park. While Edison was legally credited with most of the inventions produced there, many of his employees carried out research and development under his guidance. The quadruplex telegraph was Edison's first big financial success, as it allowed for the transmission of 4 messages simultaneously over a single wire, significantly increasing efficiency for telegraph companies. According to Edison, many of his patents were improvements on existing inventions. However, the phonograph was different. It made him a celebrity in 1877. The phonograph was the first device capable of recording and reproducing sound. This groundbreaking accomplishment was so unexpected by the public that it seemed almost magical. As a result, Edison became known as the Wizard of Menlo Park. In 1877, Edison introduced the carbon microphone, which consisted of 2 metal plates separated by granules of carbon. Edison used this innovation to create an improved telephone for Western Union, which was put into use in 1890 and remained in use until the 1980s. In 1878, Edison began working on electrical illumination. British scientist Warren de la Rue had developed a similar design in 1840 using a coiled platinum filament. The high cost of platinum prevented the bulb from becoming commercially viable. Several other inventors created electric bulbs, but they had extremely short lifespans and required high electric currents to operate. In 1880, Edison patented his version of the electric lamp using a carbon filament. Edison formed the Edison Electric Light Company in New York City. He made his first public demonstration of the light bulb on the 31st of December, 1879, in Menlo Park. Edison famously said, "We will make electricity so cheap that only the rich will burn candles." He built the first electric power systems and launched the Pearl Street Station in New York. It was the first investor-owned power plant, supplying DC electricity to 59 local homes and businesses in Lower Manhattan. The system quickly grew to serve 508 customers with 10,164 lamps. In 1882, Nikola Tesla began working for Thomas Edison. Shortly after arriving in the United States, Edison hired Tesla to help improve his DC, direct current, power systems. Tesla worked diligently and even claimed he was promised a large bonus for solving technical problems, though Edison later dismissed it as a joke. Their differing visions of electricity soon caused a split. Tesla believed AC, alternating current, was the future. This disagreement led to the famous War of Currents, with Tesla eventually partnering with George Westinghouse to develop AC systems. Edison strongly opposed alternating current and went to great lengths to prove it was dangerous. He organized public demonstrations where he electrocuted animals, including an elephant with AC power, to show its lethal effects. He also supported the use of AC in the first electric chair execution in 1890. Despite his efforts, AC ultimately became the standard due to its practicality and greater efficiency for long-distance power transmission. In 1884, Edison's wife, Mary, passed away at the age of 29, likely due to a brain tumor or a morphine overdose, which was a common prescription for women during that time to treat a variety of ailments. 2 years later, Edison married Mina Miller. Together, they had 3 children. In 1885, Edison also purchased land in Fort Myers, Florida, where he built a winter retreat. In 1891, the famous Henry Ford, who would later revolutionize the automobile industry, joined the Edison Illuminating Company of Detroit as an engineer. In 1915, during World War I, Edison, at the age of 68, became concerned with America's reliance on foreign rubber supplies. Determined to find a domestic source, he co-founded the Edison Botanical Research Corporation with Henry Ford and Harvey Firestone. Edison tested over 17,000 plant samples and eventually discovered Leavenworth's goldenrod was a suitable source of rubber. Through crossbreeding, he was able to enhance its rubber-producing potential. Edison had many other inventions. Fluoroscopy, the first commercial X-ray machine, but abandoned the project after nearly going blind and losing his assistant, Clarence Daly, to radiation exposure. Tasimeter, a sensitive device for measuring solar heat during an eclipse, though it was never commercialized. Motion pictures. Edison helped develop the motion picture camera and viewer. His studio produced over 1,200 films, including some of the earliest and most iconic. Rechargeable battery. He invented the nickel-iron battery, intended for electric cars, but it was eventually outperformed by lead-acid batteries. In 1920, Edison had become increasingly interested in spiritualism. a popular movement during that era, and expressed a very unusual and controversial interest in developing a scientific device that could allow for contact with spirits, which he referred to as the spirit phone. However, there's no evidence that Edison ever developed such a device. Thomas Edison and Henry Ford, his former employee, lived just a few hundred feet away from each other in Fort Myers. Edison remained active in business until shortly before his death. In September of 1930, just months before he passed away, he drove the first electric train of the Lackawanna Railroad's new suburban service in New Jersey. This electric train system used direct current, which Edison had long supported. Despite his poor health, he personally operated the train for its first mile. In his later years, Edison followed a special diet, and the only liquid he consumed was a pint of milk every 3 hours, as he believed it would restore his health.
What do you think of the Einstein theory?
I don't think anything of Einstein's theory because I can't understand it.
Edison died of complications from diabetes on the 18th of October, 1931, in his home at Fort Myers, where he was buried behind the house. It's said that Edison's last breath was captured in a test tube, now kept at the Henry Ford Museum near Detroit. Ford reportedly convinced Charles Edison to seal a test tube of air from the inventor's room shortly after his death as a memento. A plaster death mask and casts of Edison's hands were also made. Mina, his second wife, passed away in 1947. Though Thomas Edison is gone, his light continues to shine, illuminating the path for future inventors and dreamers, reminding us that one idea can change the world forever. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to help us grow. Thanks for watching.